Not every archaeological discovery carries the same weight. Some stand out for how deeply they change our understanding of the past. We're talking about the finds that reveal how people once lived or bring forgotten civilizations into clearer focus. Every single discovery you'll see in this video fits that category. When they came to light, they didn't just add to the history books, they reshaped how we view the people who came before us. So stick around till the end as we count down the 15 most significant finds of archaeological artifacts that will just blow your mind. Number 15. The Game of Death. Long before board games were a household staple, ancient Egyptians were playing Senet, a game that blurred the line between entertainment and spiritual ritual. Senet boards have been traced back as far as 3100 BCE, with hieroglyphs calling it the Game of Death. Physical boards are rare, but paintings of people playing it appear in tombs across Egypt, including that of Pharaoh Rashidi. The game was so revered it eventually spread beyond Egypt, reaching places like Cyprus, where several stone versions have been uncovered. Each board features 30 squares and 3 rows of 10. The game's exact rules are lost to time, but the last few squares are decorated in ways that suggest penalty moves, perhaps losing a turn or rolling specific numbers. The journey across the board likely symbolized a soul's passage to the afterlife. Even without knowing the full mechanics, Senet wasn't just recreation, it was a spiritual experience, guiding the dead beyond the living world, one move at a time. So it proves Egyptians were geniuses. Number 14. The Roman sword found near Oak Island. Well, the idea that Romans may have reached North America long before Columbus seems far-fetched, until you come across the sword pulled from the waters near Oak Island, Nova Scotia. This wasn't part of a modern replica or Hollywood prop. It's a genuine Roman gladiator's ceremonial votive sword, and it came from a shipwreck discovered off the island's coast. The sword had been kept secret for decades by the fishermen who found it, fearing they'd be in trouble for disturbing a protected wreck. But when it finally surfaced in 2015, experts confirmed both the sword's authenticity and the shipwreck's Roman design. Some still argue the sword could have been brought to Canada centuries later, but that theory doesn't fully hold up. The vessel it came from matched ancient Roman construction, and both artifacts existing together in the same wreck is a hard coincidence to explain away. If real Roman explorers reach these shores, history may need more than a footnote rewritten, it might need an entire chapter. Number 13. Mysterious Sunstones of Vassagard. In 2017, archaeologists working on the island of Bornholm in Denmark unearthed a puzzling collection of over 300 carved stone discs. They came from Vassagard, a site that's been challenging what we assume about Stone Age culture. These flat stones, about 5,000 years old, were covered in intricate patterns. Some showed rays radiating from a center point like sunbursts, and others had hatching or web-like markings. The labor it must have taken to carve each one by hand is no small thing, and clearly they weren't made at random. Some of the stones appear burnt, suggesting they may have played a role in rituals or ceremonies. Others theorize they were used as early currency or markers for agricultural plots. Whatever their purpose, it's obvious the people who made them weren't simple hunter-gatherers. They had structure, purpose, and symbolic thinking. The fact that no two are exactly alike only deepens the mystery. These discs speak to a complexity in Stone Age society that we're still struggling to fully grasp. Number 12. Adam Sepp's Calendar. In 2003, a routine flight over Mpumalanga, South Africa, ended in a crash. But what followed was even more surprising. The pilot, Johan Heine, survived the incident, and soon realized he had found something great. A vast stone circle nearly 100 feet wide, positioned with remarkable astronomical precision. The formation, now called Adam's Calendar, is made of dolomite stones and appears to align with celestial events as they would have looked more than 8,000 years ago, possibly even 12,000, according to some researchers. If true, this would make it one of the oldest man-made structures ever found on Earth, predating sites like Stonehenge by millennia. Its builders remain unknown. No written records, No ruins of a city, just these stones, arranged with a level of intention that suggests advanced knowledge of astronomy and geometry. Whether it was used for rituals, timekeeping, or something entirely different, Adam's calendar remains a powerful reminder of how much we've yet to learn about the civilizations that came before us. Number 11, the Rosetta Stone. Well, before 1799, the language of ancient Egypt was mostly a mystery, and no one on Earth could understand it. That changed with the unearthing of the Rosetta Stone. So, it's important. Found near the Nile Delta in Fort Julian, the stone held a decree issued by King Ptolemy V, but what made it invaluable wasn't the content. It was the translation. Inscribed in 3 scripts, hieroglyphic, Demotic, and ancient Greek, it gave scholars a direct way to decode hieroglyphs using their knowledge of Greek. French soldier Pierre-François Bouchard found it during Napoleon's Egyptian campaign. After France's defeat in 1801, the British claimed the artifact, and it's been housed at the British Museum since 1802. The stone itself is a dark slab of granodiorite, likely once displayed in a temple before being repurposed into the fort's foundation. Thanks to this single object, scholars could finally understand the language of ancient Egyptians, opening the door to thousands of years of forgotten history. Today, Rosetta Stone is synonymous with breakthroughs in understanding, and it all started with a multilingual decree. Number 10. The Accidental Hermitage Cave. You don't always need heavy tools. Sometimes, it takes a landslide to bring the past back to life. In April 2020, workers repairing a collapsed railway embankment in Shropshire stumbled across a cave hidden for centuries. This wasn't just any cave. It was filled with wall carvings and symbols that led experts to believe it once served as a medieval hermitage linked to the nearby ruins of St. Catherine's Chapel, a 14th century structure. Though time and erosion have taken a toll inside the cave, archaeologists uncovered a Christian cross made from dots, a Gothic-style shrine, and even remnants of ancient fire pits. The hill itself, once known by the Old English name Dracul, meaning Hill of the Dragon, is thought to have held ritual significance long before Christianity arrived. While the site remains under careful excavation, researchers hope it'll help paint a clearer picture of English medieval spirituality and pre-Christian traditions. It's proof that history doesn't just hide in museums, it sometimes waits quietly underground. Number 9. Horse bone tools at Boxgrove. Uncovering the early stages of human development isn't easy, especially when you're reaching back 500,000 years. In West Sussex, England, archaeologists working at the Boxgrove site in the 1990s came across something remarkable: tools made from horse bones. These weren't random leftovers. They had been deliberately shaped with flint, likely used for butchery. The tools were found among the bones of Homo heidelbergensis, a prehistoric species that may sit somewhere between Neanderthals and modern humans. What stood out was the density of tools and cut-marked bones. This wasn't the work of a lone individual. Evidence suggests that up to 8 members of this early group might have gathered together around the carcass, carving and cutting in what may have been a shared task. The find doesn't just tell us what they ate, it shows us that they worked in groups, learned from one another, and understood how to use tools with intent. It's a rare, grounded look into the cooperative behavior of ancient human ancestors. Number 8. Burial box of Mariam. In 2011, Israeli scholars confirmed the authenticity of a 2000-year-old ossuary or burial box that had once been looted from a tomb in Jerusalem during the 1990s. The box carried a name etched clearly into its side: Mariam, daughter of Yeshua, son of Caiaphas, the high priest connected to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. For years, the artifact remained in limbo, undergoing careful analysis by historians and archaeologists. It wasn't just about verifying the age of the stone, but also ensuring that the inscription itself was as old as the box, not added later as a hoax. After a thorough study, both were found to be genuine. While it's true that names like Caiaphas weren't uncommon, the connection to a prominent biblical figure makes the discovery deeply significant to scholars and believers alike. Whether or not Mariam was directly linked to the gospel narratives, this box represents a rare bridge between written scripture and the physical world of Second Temple-era Jerusalem. What do you think of it? Number set. Fossilized trilobite line in Morocco. Well, queuing isn't just a human habit. Off the coast of Morocco, paleontologists uncovered a fossilized line of trilobites, ancient marine arthropods, frozen in perfect procession. This wasn't some scattered deposit. These creatures were marching in a single file 480 million years ago, moving together before they were buried by a sudden sediment avalanche. Trilobites lacked eyesight, so they likely used touch, brushing their spiny bodies against one another to stay aligned. This fossil is one of the oldest known records of group behavior on Earth. While we can't be sure why they moved in line, maybe for protection or migration, the consistency in their arrangement is remarkable. Their remains are often found in groups, hinting that they lived socially rather than solitarily. In a strange way, their behavior mirrors how modern lobsters migrate today. For a species that vanished over 250 million years ago, these fossils provide a rare glimpse into how early life forms may have worked together, long before humanity was ever part of the picture. Number 6. Painted ostrich eggs. Long before decorative eggs became part of modern celebrations, ancient civilizations were already using them in a very different way. Archaeologists have uncovered painted ostrich eggs in burial sites dating back more than 3,000 years, often placed alongside the remains of elite individuals during the Bronze and Iron Ages. These weren't local finds either. The eggs, traced to regions in North Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean, have been discovered thousands of miles from where the ostriches actually lived. This suggests there was once a widespread, well-established trade route, operating centuries before written records even hinted at such complexity. The eggs themselves are stunning. Carefully decorated and deliberately chosen, clearly meant for more than just aesthetic value. Many were discovered in high-status tombs like the Isis tomb in Volsci, Italy, where they likely held ceremonial or symbolic meaning. Whatever their original purpose, their presence reveals a highly connected world and a level of cultural exchange far ahead of what was once believed possible for that time. Art is an ancient thing. Number 5. The controversial tomb of Jesus Christ. In late 2016, for the first time in nearly 5 centuries, the site believed to be the tomb of Jesus Christ was opened. Hidden beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, the tomb had been sealed with marble since the 16th century. The decision to unseal it was part of a restoration effort, and what archaeologists found stunned even the skeptics. Beneath layers of stone and history, they uncovered the original limestone shelf believed to be the burial place of Christ. Nearby, a second marble slab marked with a cross was found, possibly etched by crusaders during the 1100s. The tomb had been identified as sacred ground by Emperor Constantine in the 4th century, but over time, layers of destruction, rebuilding, and debate clouded its authenticity. While we may never know for certain if Jesus was buried here, the evidence fits the timeline, the geography, and the deep religious history. Some discoveries raise more questions than they answer, but that's what keeps the search going. All right, now let's move to number 4. Alien set proteina in a meteorite. In March 2020, scientists made an announcement that pushed the boundaries of what we understand about life. Inside a meteorite that had crashed in Algeria back in 1990, they found something completely unexpected. A protein, not fragments, not amino acids. A full extraterrestrial protein. The meteorite, labeled ACFR 086, had already been studied for years, but only recent advancements in mass spectrometry revealed the molecule now named hemolyth. Its structure isn't like anything found on Earth. The hydrogen-to-deuterium ratio alone sets it apart, making it chemically alien. While other meteorites have carried molecules like cyanide or ribose, this was the first time a complete protein was identified that didn't originate here. It doesn't mean life exists out there, but it does mean the building blocks of life may be far more common than we thought. If life does emerge elsewhere, this discovery could be the quiet beginning of understanding how it all starts, not just here, but across the universe. Number 3. Kapur Baoli. Kapur Baoli, tucked deep within the forests of India's Nuh district, is far more than a forgotten stepwell. It's a place where belief, history, and mystery flow together. Built around 1,200 years ago, this ancient water tank earned its name due to the camphor-like scent that lingers in its water to this day. Locals believe the water holds medicinal properties, and many still visit the site seeking healing or spiritual clarity. The structure itself, though weathered, still retains its original corridors and shrine chamber, once home to sacred idols. What makes Kapur Baoli especially strange is the water level. Despite having no visible water source, it never runs dry. Dedicated to 6 goddesses, including Kali and Bhavani, the site carries immense spiritual weight in regional folklore. While the science behind the water's persistence and scent remains elusive, the reverence for this stepwell hasn't diminished. It stands as both a spiritual site and a quiet engineering marvel, one that continues to draw pilgrims and the curious alike. What do you think about it? Number 2. William Wallace Cistis Sword. Behind the legend of William Wallace stands a very real weapon, a broadsword over 5 feet long that's said to have been wielded by Wallace during his fight for Scottish independence in the 13th century. The sword is massive, far larger than a typical weapon of that era. If it truly belonged to Wallace, he must have been an imposing figure. There's a debate about the sword's authenticity. Critics point out that parts of the scabbard and hilt date to the 15th century, long after Wallace's death. But the blade itself may have been forged from earlier weapons, possibly reforged after battles or preserved as a relic of national pride. Its sheer size and brutal design suggest it wasn't just ceremonial. If Wallace used this in combat, it would have taken immense strength and skill. Whether or not every part is original, it remains one of the most iconic artifacts from Scotland's history, linking legend and reality in a weapon forged from rebellion and resolve. Number 1. The Oseberg Buddha Bucket. When the Oseberg ship burial was uncovered in Norway in 1904, it was a moment of historic significance. But among the valuable artifacts found within, one item continues to raise eyebrows: a decorative pail known as the Buddha bucket. This item features twin figures seated in lotus positions, their faces calm, eyes shut, hands resting at their sides. Their torsos are covered with enamel panels in deep red and yellow, decorated with swastika motifs, symbols of good fortune in pre-Christian contexts. While the figures are dressed in Eastern fashion, researchers doubt their origin lies in Asia. Similar artifacts found in other parts of Scandinavia suggest a regional style rather than a direct Buddhist influence. The figure may not be Buddha at all, but rather a symbolic representation adapted from another culture. Whether it was imported, traded, or created locally with distant inspiration, the Buddha bucket reflects the cultural complexity of Viking society, one far more nuanced than the common image of raiders and warriors. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon in the next